just that connection between two people that love a car. And that's I feel like that's what you do.
Yes.
That's your life. You've spent, you know, more than 20 years doing this, right?
Yes, sir.
And so I feel like you get that more than I even do. I got a glimpse into your world of seeing how this car unites people all across the world.
No doubt about it.
Different walks, different backgrounds, different ages. So yeah, that would be my favorite memory. And also launch control is pretty, pretty amazing too.
So the gist of today's conversation has been a number of great things, but getting right to it now, you can see how much Tommy has enjoyed the C8.
Yeah.
But you had to sell it for personal reasons, and it was a short-term personal reason. It wasn't for what you see going on in the marketplace. That I'm going to interject my 2 cents, and I'm so sick and tired of seeing the flipping. Yeah. You see these used car lots out there with 22s on their lot with 50 miles. Where do you think that car came from? Mm-hmm. You know, and I've got so many good people that want to enjoy and experience what you've been talking about, what we share on the channel, and can't, because we've had folks like that. I'm not even going to say how many. Over 100 people have flipped the cars, and those good people waiting that want to drive and enjoy the car can't, because others are getting it simply to flip the car. Mm-hmm. And I would say, don't call. I want the business, but right now we're in an environment that I can't take care of everybody, and it's sad to see that state of affairs, that a couple extra bucks is more important to you than the experiences that we're sharing and talking about today. Yeah. And it's hard for people to partake in that, and it's really upset the apple cart of the marketplace. I think that's going to soon change. We're now going into the fourth year. You've got close to 50, 60,000 cars that are out there in C8, so that will settle down at some point, but I don't think it's coming anytime soon.
No.
You know, so the flipping is a big concern. So if you're not buying the car for the sake of enjoyment, I say don't buy the car, man. Yeah. I mean, really, just really think about it. I've had people, you know, at the beginning when this all happened, I had a couple clients that said, hey, man, I got this guy just offered me $25,000 more than what I paid. I've never had that. I don't know what to do. And he sold the car. Yeah. Got caught up in the moment. Called me back a couple weeks later. Man, number one, he wanted another car. I said, dude, I can't get you another car. I got hundreds of people waiting. He goes, man, I think I made a mistake. I really miss my car. Yeah. When you're doing it for that reason.
I still miss mine.
We shared on the channel recently, I went to Tennessee and got Jeff's car that he could have flipped and sold and made more money than what we paid for. And we paid very good money for the car. And he was a gentleman and said, here, you sell it and make a couple of bucks. And we still sold it below what the open market is. So I appreciate that. But his intention was not to flip it. And his too was a short-term situation. So, you know, with that, I would, and you might have the same sentiment. And you know, I like to be open and honest and share opinions. But what do you think of the state of the retail market? And before you actually answer that, how about why you sold it in the manner in which you sold it?
Yeah. So the reason why I sold it, and it's still, it saddens me to this day. I love the car. It's actually still on my phone.
Oh, I love this. Look at this, guys.
It's my picture on my phone, just so everybody sees.
He goes, that's still my car.
Yeah, it's still my car. I still look at it every day.
Yes.
I had to sell it, and I'm fine with sharing it. There was this opportunity to buy this house that was out there, that was a higher price range than I had jumped before, but it was a friend of mine selling it, so he offered me this really good deal. Okay. My wife was very excited about the proposition, and it was one of those situations where I had to make that decision to go, you know what, this is for my family, this is a step I have to take, and I sold my house that was in New Albany, sold a bunch of different things to make this jump, and it's actually right near the annex and where all that stuff's happening. So, not that I bought the house to flip it either, but the value is going up.
But that is an appreciating asset. Let's face it, cars are not supposed to do what they're doing right now, but that's what we're in.
And if you remember, I talked to you before I even sold it, and I said, hey, I'm in this situation. I'm really struggling with this. And you said to the same thing to me. You said, well, house is a more appreciating asset. Well, and you probably should make that decision to go forward with, you gave me good advice.
You were doing it for the right reason. And it wasn't just, hey, I'm going to flip this car, I'm going to make 20, 30, 40 grand, and hey, get me another one. How fast can you get me another one? And it was never that conversation.
No, because I loved that car. I would wash it every week. I would take care of it. I became a Corvette guy. Right. That's the only way I can explain it. I've got the key ring.
You got me. Here, I'll give it back to you.
Hey, thank you so much for everybody. Thank you. So I made the decision. But yeah, it was a tough decision to make, and it was funny because I kept struggling with listing the car. I couldn't list it for what everybody else was selling their cars for. I told you I listed it for really around the exact.
Did you really end up selling it to somebody you knew?
I did. So I was going to list it.
Right.
And the night before I was going to list it, a guy running for a government position who happened to be filming something with me. Oh. He sold the car, and he said, "This is your car?" And I said, "Yeah." I drove it to the shoot or whatever.
Right.
And he said, "Oh, you thinking about selling it?" And I was like, "Oh." Like I didn't want to say, "Yeah, I'm going to sell it."
Right. Here
but
we
I was
go.
like, "Yeah, I'm thinking about selling it." And he's like, "Well, what would you sell it for?" And I said, "Well, I'm not wanting to make a ton of money. I have to get it off my credit." Because I had a little bit of it on, it was on credit.
Sure.
So I was like, I need to get off my credit because the banks today and everything going on. That's the main reason. Right. Was the banks were like, you have the income, but we don't want to see that on your credit.
Yeah.
So I'm like, are you kidding me?
Ratio. Right.
Yeah. So
right.
I was like, yeah, I'd probably sell it for, around what I paid for it with, with the taxes or whatever. So I didn't like go, here, sell to 105,000 or anything like that. It was below 100,000.
Sure.
I could have sold it for more. And it was like a no-brainer for him. He was like, "Oh, I'll take it." Like he didn't even bat an eye because when I told him the price, he knew that I was giving him a really good price. And I said, "Here's my deal, though. If I ever can get the car back from you," this is what I said.
How many of you guys been in that position?
I said, "I'll buy the car back from you some other time." And he said, "Sure. I've got a leasing company. You could always lease it from me if you want." So anyways, that's how the story went. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. And but that's how it went. And I was sad to see it go. But I knew it went to a great guy. Because I don't know about you guys out there, but when you care about a vehicle, you've taken care of it. I drive them hard, but the thing is the car was designed to be driven. And it wants to run.
Agreed.
And so I ran it, and then I would also care for it. I made sure it came in, got its oil changed. I'd wash it. I'd make sure it was taken care of. So I wanted somebody to buy it that felt the same way about the car. Anyway, yeah, I love the car, and that's how I sold it. Still think about it every day. Literally yesterday, I was telling Alexis, my wife, I was like, "Man, I really want that car back." Right. And she was like, "Hey, well, we had some good things happen, and some, God's blessed us, and there was income and things that have come in since." And she's like, "Well, maybe you should wait for the Z06." And then the April Fool's thing comes out.
So were you tier 3 yet?
We'll talk about it later.
Yeah, right. Now you guys understand why I wanted to have this conversation, share it with you on the channel because of his great spirit, his passion, not just for cars, but for people. So with all that, let me ask you what you think about the retail market and the current conditions that are going on still to this day.
I think that some of it's kind of ridiculous. I understand there's the circumstances, and I don't want to necessarily speak evil of people that are marking their cars up. There's demand. We've got the whole supply-demand thing going on.
It's real.
It's real. Mm-hmm. So I'm not trying to condemn those that are out there making money off your car, but if you buy these cars intending to make money, then you're actually part of the problem, because what you're doing is you're messing up. It messes up your line of work. It messes up guys trying to get into these cars, because we've now we've inflated this market to such a point that people can't get into the vehicle, and that's not really helping anything, because it's not moving any cars. There's just a lot of them sitting around inflated, and it's going to burst, which is going to hurt the cars again. Right. So I just think that I think it's a bad idea if you're thinking about buying a Corvette for an investment. And now again, it's proven now There is some investment there.
Sure.
So it's just a benefit to buy one.
Right.
But if you're buying one for that purpose, I think you've missed the whole point. I don't think that's what Zora.
I'll have people that'll buy a car. They're like, "Hey, I want to get like the rarest car. And what do you think's going to be worth more money down the road?" And I'm like, you're going about it all wrong.
Yeah.
I say, who cares? Buy it, drive it, and enjoy it. Because by the time that car would actually be worth anything that we're talking about it, let's be honest, you and I won't be here. So who cares? Drive the car. Yeah. Absolutely, man. Exactly.
It's
the wrong
Ferrari
mindset.
market. It's the Ferrari mindset. So Ferrari, their whole business proposition is, this is a club. It's not the way that the Corvette community works, where it's like, hey, two guys walk up, you've got a Corvette, I got a Corvette. Ferrari's it's like guys that are buying art kind of thing. It's like they consider their car to be an
investment.
That's
why my April Fool's tear thing almost sounded like a Ferrari
Well, that's
scenario.
why it got me, because I'm used to hearing that kind of conversation. That is the world of Ferrari. Ferrari, you'll literally go in there. I've got buddies who collect them, and he literally buys cars he doesn't want to get cars that he wants later. Their whole model is, I'll sell you a Ferrari Roma, which just came out, which is like, it's a nice looking car, but they call them entry level Ferraris, so that you can then try to get something later.
Maybe I should try that. If you buy a Silverado, I can get you one of them Corvettes.
It works, but that's not what that's not what Chevy's about, I don't think. Well, I can't speak for the company, or where they're heading. But what I find in my first experience with Corvette is that it's a very open and like everyone's very friendly. You obviously love on your clients. You've never treated me like that. I came in here, you were busy at like 5 people that you were talking to before I came in. And you had tried to reach out to me because I was one of the first people to jump online when they did their event and fill it out. Yes. You tried to call me. I was in the middle of I was like out of state taping something. Yes. You were super patient with me, and I didn't even have an understanding of how many people were trying to get the car. Yeah. Like truly. When
they did the reveal for the C8, I was here at midnight, watching it, taping it, getting reactions from people, and then I was till about 4:30 trying to answer some emails. And they just got just pouring in. Never. And I've been the part of C5, C6, C7 generation launches.
Yeah.
Never saw anything like that, the reaction. And it still continues. We're going into the 4th model year, and that desire and demand is still there, partly granted because of the lack of production, but they still made quite a few cars.
They did.
And to see that demand, and it's because of a lot of the new clients like yourself that have never had Corvette that are adding to the pot. So
the first night I got that car,
pretty crazy.
It is. The first night I got it, we could go on forever and ever, but I remember it. I don't share this. I mean, I'm sharing it with all of you guys now.
I don't know if you told me this yet.
I haven't probably, but I actually teared up the first night I drove the car. I drove it down to East End and back, and it was just like, I don't know how to explain it, but there was just this moment where it got me emotionally. I'm like, wow. I get it. Like it was just this click moment for me where I was like, I get this. Like I understand. And I've driven Ferraris and things, and I still appreciate a good Ferrari. Don't get me wrong, but I haven't had that moment, in another car.
Dude, I've had customers here that have had the same emotion getting their cars. I won't name you guys. I remember a lot of you folks that would cry getting their car. A lot of it was because they were the accomplishment, the reward, getting the car. The other thing was thinking that, wow, I wish my mom or my dad was here to share this moment with me. Yeah. Or maybe it was because of them that I'm able to afford this. And when I did about a year ago, I did my send-off of my first ever Corvette. I got sick and tired of, all the years of representing this car. People say, well, what do you drive? What do you drive? Mm-hmm. I got 4 kids, man. I got a Suburban, It's as much as a Corvette. Does that count? It was crazy. But the day I sat in my car, I was overwhelmed and touched beyond belief because of the response of the audience, friends, customers, people I didn't even know that were here supporting me, congratulating me. And I sat in the car before I pulled out, and I started crying, and I couldn't even talk on mic. I was like, wow. It was just everything all at once. And probably one of the, what do you mean one of? It was the most proud moment of my career, and probably always will be. That particular moment. We've done some fun things. We've done some very cutting edge things, some risky things, but something very special. That moment of me getting my car is unmatched. I don't see anything in my career ever topping that. Yeah. And it's because, now if it was just me getting the car out here by myself, it would have been fun. but it was the people being here and the online support and just the generosity that people were sending. Hey, I can't make it, but I'm thinking of you. It touched me so many times, man. So yeah, I get it.
I mean, and just one other thing I wanted to say, when he says he takes risks, just to speak to that night when you were actually doing the stunt. Because I'm like, he's taking it so seriously, but I got people that angry. But I have to just say, just for all of you guys out there, because I was there, I saw what happened, we were filming it. He did take risks. I mean, what he did was dangerous out there. Oh, yeah. And it was still a stunt that night.
Well, the rain started coming down.
He doctored a lot of things, but he still took risks.
Dude, we didn't plan on the rain. And I almost lost control of the car at the end. I really did. And I'm like, okay. And you said, I think we got everything. And I'm thinking, oh my God, because I was like, now I'm starting to shake. I almost lost control of the car. I was going to hit a row of trees.
Yep.
And then when he did his Hollywood magic, I said, wow, man. I said, that ramp was cool. I said, where'd you get that ramp, man? He goes, oh, I put that in there. I said, man, I wish that ramp would have been there. And he goes, I'm glad it wasn't. I go, why? He goes, because you're crazy enough, you really would have went over it.
That's exactly what I said.
Yeah, I would have.
Yep. It's exactly right, but I just wanted people to know that you were willing to take the chance, and I still think that at some point you
for the sake of entertainment.
Yeah,
that's all it was all about.
Yep,
was really of entertainment.
Absolutely.
You know, because I think at the end of the day, people need to realize that's exactly what this is: information and entertainment, sharing experiences. Put it all together. You got a YouTube channel.